All right, call the commissioners meeting for 21st to order, pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the approval of minutes from the January 6th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Approval of claims.
I will make a motion to approve the accounts payable claim.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Dusty, you're up.
Wait a minute, we got payroll
Oh,
claims.
my bad.
And I got a number of questions on the payroll claims.
I don't have them separated. That way you don't see that it's
Typically, we just do claims period, but I got a number of questions on the payroll claims. That's why I didn't make a motion on them. The payroll that just went out, what period was it for? I mean, this thing says January the 10th through the 17th. That's only 7 days. Payroll 14 days, right?
The payday was on the 17th, the pay period ended on the 10th, so it was 12/28 through 1/10.
So were part of the claims paid at the 2024 approved rates and part of them at 2025? Are you sure?
Not 100%, some of them were, yeah.
Because most of them were paid strictly at the
It's
25,
only 1 day.
2 days,
2 days.
30th and 31st, correct? For sure. So why would we pay 25 rate for 24 days work?
Whatever they turned into me, that's what I,
When does the 2025 salary ordinance go into effect?
12 or 1/1.
25, right? So those days worked in 24 should have been paid at the 24 rate, correct? They weren't. Most of them were paid at the 2025 rate. So December 30th and 31st should have been paid at the 2024 approved salary ordinance rates. There's a number of discrepancies, and that's the reason I'm hesitant. The federal, let's say, Fair Labor Standards Act says that we have to pay people. They've already been paid, so they have been paid, but there's a number of errors that's gonna need corrected. And I think we'll end up probably having to make, well, in my opinion is we'll have to make a motion to approve with some conditions, right? Some of the other mistakes, and I'm not just gonna go through them real quick. You had offices turned in 36 hours or 72 hours, but yet you paid them 80. Why would we do
They
that?
were paid, when they turned it out, then that's what I go by.
But what is your guideline for how much you pay people and what their classification is?
What their salary is on the salary ordinance.
The salary ordinance has positions on here that are hourly positions.
It
They
doesn't
only
say
work 72
anything-
hours, but you pay them 40.
It doesn't say anything about.
It absolutely does. If it
It's
has a
an hourly rate, but it doesn't say that that is based on,
So what's your interpretation? So what's your interpretation of the salary ordinance when it has an hourly rate besides some positions, but not all?
the council asked for those to be on there.
I don't think that's accurate. You said in the same meetings as I did, council said that certain positions were going to be hourly in 25, and they put the hourly rate beside those positions that were to be paid as hourly.
And then we had a meeting last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I guess, 2 weeks ago. And it was discussed at the council meeting again. And they said whatever was in that approved spot, that's what the deputies would be paid.
So what's in that approved spot is an hourly amount, which says that those people that work 70, whatever it is, 6 hours, or excuse me, 72 hours, should have been paid for 72 hours and not 80 hours. But yet you paid them for 80 hours.
I paid them what the department head or the elected official put in there.
No, that's not exactly true either, because you have on your pay vouchers, you've got payout vouchers from some offices where they clearly put 72,
Not
but
all
you
of
paid
them.
them 80. No, I'm not saying all of them, but certainly some of them are.
I paid them what their salary was.
They don't have a salary, they're hourly per the salary ordinance.
Per the guideline in each office, it says that they are salary in the job
The
description.
salary ordinance
It does
is what
not
you
say
have to go
hourly.
by. You have to go by the salary ordinance.
Show me
That is
where
your
it-
Bible for paying people.
Maybe that's never said anything about an hourly or salary. Last year it didn't have those things on it, and we paid them.
And it didn't have one because during their meetings this year, they determined that those were hourly positions.
Well, let's do this, so we get heated back and forth. Why don't you put your concerns on email?
I'm not gonna
But,
put my concerns on email, Joe. We're gonna discuss them in a public meeting, which is what we're supposed to do.
Well, I agree. But let her do her fact finding.
I've already looked at it. She sent the information to me, so I've already seen it.
Okay, well,
Were you on the email that he's talking about? When the vouchers were emailed out,
so I have it in this file here.
probably.
So some of the other mistakes, for example, and they're minor, but yet there's still mistakes that need to be corrected. And if we approve, number one, I'm of the opinion that if we approve the salary claims the way they're presented, knowing that there's mistakes, then we're guilty of misappropriation of public funds, which is against the law.
But you had said a few minutes ago, approve these with some.
Conditions.
Some conditions.
Correct.
And that's, let's do that. Let's let Gail have some time to look at stuff. And, because we're not gonna solve it in this meeting right here.
Well, just to give her some other things to look at, so if you look at the jailers pay, so there was 3 jailers paid at $20.47 an hour. The salary ordinance only has, 2 jailers positions at $20.47. I don't know which ones are wrong or which one's right, because on the salary ordinance, it's got jailers 1 through 9. On pay vouchers, it's got jailer by name, so I don't know which name goes with which
Or what,
number. So-
one of the jailers is paid out of a different fund, so that probably might be why you're not looking at.
Well, then there was 2 jailers paid at 1972 an hour, and there's only 1 jailer on the salary ordinance at 1972. So I'm guessing one of the other jailers got paid underpaid,
Well, then you got a new one.
or that's possible too. They may have hired somebody new and started them at a lower rate. I don't know.
Maybe if you would have asked me this before, I could have had it prepared to show you.
Well, the
Instead of
cook,
waiting until right now.
for example, is on the salary claims at $18.80 an hour. The cook was paid $19.92 an hour.
Mhm.
So, I mean, how do those happen?
The cook was,
You can't pay more than what's on the salary ordinance.
Again, I think if we have things
It
like
was-
this in the future, and I can only speak for tonight, Brian will be back on the 3rd. Let's email this stuff either, whether it's to Gail or whomever.
She emailed it to me, so I don't need to email it to her.
your
with,
question.
with the questions that you have. So we're not spending 10, 15 minutes of a heated debate.
Well, I think it's important to have these discussions in public rather than behind the scenes.
Right.
Wait,
You-
not
you've
gonna
made
do
your-
anything
you've made your
behind the
concerns.
scenes.
So let's approve it with the conditions that you want.
You make the motion however you want to.
Well, what are the conditions that you want?
He wants the pay.
I want-
people to
I
be
want
paid
these
hourly, but
corrected.
It's not, you can't do that.
Okay, let's make a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve the payroll based on the conditions that we do a review. And if there's money owed to us or to the employees, we take care of it in the next payroll or a future payroll.
It would be the next payroll, and I'll second that motion. So, but at the same time, I think there's more to it than what we're discussing and what we
Right.
discussed.
Right.
Meaning that you know as well as I do why everybody got paid a salary. Or my opinion. I believe that everybody got paid salary because the judge came to the last council meeting and said, my people only work 36 hours, you will pay them for 40. And I think that's why everybody got paid for 40. But make no mistakes about it. I'm gonna read the Indiana code to you right here. IC code 36-2-5-3, compensation of officers and employees, local health department, not applicable to community corrections programs. The county fiscal body shall fix the compensation of officers, deputies, and other employees whose compensation is payable from the county general fund, county highway fund, county health fund, county park and recreation fund, aviation fund, or any other fund from which the county auditor issues warrants for compensation. This includes the power to fix the number of officers, deputies, and other employees, describe and classify the position. What does classify the position to be? Determine whether they're hourly or salaried, correct? The judge doesn't have authority to do that. There's only one body of county government that has authority to determine the number of people in the salary ordinance, the rate that they're paid, and whether they're hourly or salary.
Okay,
Salary.
you made your point. Let's move on. We don't have a lawyer right now. We'll get a lawyer.
And I'm certainly not a lawyer, but I'm pretty clear on this IC code.
I understand what you're saying, but again, we're not gonna solve this tonight.
I understand,
So we've made a motion, you've seconded it, all in
but
favor?
I think there needs to be a reason given to the public for why people were paid as clearly hourly on the.
Let Gail do her research and let her come back to us. Maybe she comes back to us tomorrow. Maybe it's Monday. But she's not gonna
Well, I
sit here
think
in
it
a
needs to be in a
meeting.
public meeting, so.
Okay, then we have it on the February 3rd meeting with the explanation. I think that's fair.
I'll agree to that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Dusty, you're up.
Well, I don't have a whole lot. We've basically been doing mostly snow removal stuff and working on equipment. I do have one old thing I want to bring up. Barker Road, do you remember when we talked about that last year?
Barker Road in Mount Sterling.
No, it's,
Center Square.
Yeah,
Center
Center
Square.
Square on the other side of the Amish store. So
Yes,
the
the lady
guy,
came to
Yep.
the meeting.
the guy in the back had bought property. They're wanting to build a house back there. So I guess if you all are okay with it, we'll go in there when the weather gets better and start clearing my right of way out. There's a
The
lot.
request was to widen it right after a
Yep.
bridge or something, correct?
Yep,
Or expand it.
basically where Barker and Stanford turns off to the left, and that's where it starts into the woods, and the whole road back through there is all narrow. So we're gonna have to cut quite a few trees back through there and open that up, and I got one bank repair I need to do back there, but we can do ourselves, it ain't nothing major.
Is all of the work to be done?
Yes.
Is all the work that needs to be done in the right of way?
Yeah.
Meaning we don't have to purchase any easements or anything like that?
Yeah, it'll be, and basically what it is, there's a lot of big trees over the years, they basically grew up right in the edge of the road. We can't even hardly mow the road, because you can't pull the bush hog out to get through those spots. We do mow it, but, you know, you gotta fold up and down. So it does need widened out, trees removed, but it's all within our right of way. And if it's not, we won't have to go back that far. But basically, if we can just get at least 2 to 3 foot opened up on each side so they can get equipment in or whatever they need, I think we'll solve our problem. And then, truck 6, we heard today, they was gonna test drive it, so hopefully it'll be back maybe tomorrow or the next day. And truck 18, they do have the new motor for it, so they're gonna start on it just as soon as they get 6 out the door. That's about all I got.
Okay, did we had discussed previously, like a sidebar in the meeting about doing another truck.
Yeah.
Do we want to go into that, Jamie, or?
I mean, that's totally up to you. If we need it, I think, I don't remember the sidebar, it was whether Dusty was gonna determine if we needed another. or-
We said two, but I think you had some other.
Yeah, we had talked about
Talk about two.
but I think one will actually get us back on track for our.
For the 3 every 5 years.
Yeah,
And then he had mentioned that maybe a loader. We hadn't replaced mowing equipment in 7 years.
yep,
Okay.
yep. And they're all
I
good.
don't know how far 200,000 goes on a loader and mowing equipment, but you know, with 2 trucks, that's 404,000. I think that's what you guys approved in
Yeah,
November, or December.
yeah.
4 something.
They're right around 400.
408,
Yeah.
only 204 feet.
402 something, and I think I got a little bit more off of them, which ends up being like 399.
Yeah, and if it's, what'd you say, 6 months to a year?
Yep, 6 months to a year, yeah.
So, you know.
And there will be a few $1,000s difference on these trucks because they forgot to quote something in the specs on the last two, which that took care of that. So we may have like a $3,000 to $4,000 difference from previous quote till now.
Yeah, you know, my
But
thoughts
basically
on,
the same.
he's paid to make these decisions. We approve them.
Right.
So if it's 6 months, 8 months, 10-month lead time, you know, we're talking it's swim. I'm okay with it. So I guess if you get the quote with the other two trucks, I think it's something we should pursue.
Yeah. Yeah, always have to get the quote,
Right.
Freddie, before the commissioners take a vote, make sure what
Yeah.
fund we're gonna pay it out of.
Right.
Okay. But you get some rest this past week?
Yeah, we're finally getting caught up a little bit.
One thing to keep in mind is, although there's probably, we spent 400,000 of it, I think there was like 900,000 in that fund. Typically about $500,000 a year we use on paving, and or subsidizing chip and seal, depending on how much chip and seal. I assume you put 250
We was at 3.
chip and seal,
Yeah,
350, that 25 budget.
yeah.
So that should be more than enough for the chip and seal, we'll just have to decide. So, that's just one thing you'll have to take into consideration. Community crossing this year, both gonna be bridges or is gonna be some
It's gonna be
paving?
hopefully one bridge and the rest paved. But until we get the engineering done on that bridge and find out what that cost is gonna be, I can't submit the paving until we know the bridge, because the bridge has to be replaced in 25. So,
And the community crossing is still at 1.5 million.
yes, it is 1.5.
So somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million we'll get probably for paving. So we'll just have to decide to spend $1 million, $2 million,
Yeah.
what we spend.
In one of the meetings late last year, you guys were talking about what it costs per mile. What,
About 170,000 for center line mile.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't go very far.
Yeah. And there's approximately, I believe it's 250 center line miles of paved road in Switzerland County. And if you take that 170,000 times the 250 and put it on a 20-year rotation, it means you got to spend around 2.3 million a year just to resurface every 20 years.
Yeah. And our last community crossings we just done, it was for 7 miles, about roughly 7 miles of roads. And I think we put in for 1.2, we ended up getting it bid out at 900 some thousand, so we got them just under $1 million for 7 miles.
okay. All right, anything else?
So I need to get a quote on
Yeah.
that truck.
You don't have to sit around here for the next hour if you don't want to.
Well, if you're done with it, I'll pay that.
So up to you. You know, he might want to stay till Mark White.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whole business. We said that we'll sign the thing for Tom Moore in February.
Yeah.
So February 3rd meeting. What else we have?
That's all I have, girls, business, anything.
Okay, new business, Ryan Everman.
How you guys doing?
Good, how's Ryan?
Doing all right. So I came here, you know ambulance billing, our billing company.
Yeah.
Started working at the end of the year with Jerry on possibly switching over to Medi-Cal. Way more modern system. We can draw all our reports ourselves. This ALS with transport that everybody was interested in billing. Ambulance billing really hasn't taken an interest in trying to do that. For one, there's only a couple insurances that pay it. Anthem will pay it at $360, and Medicaid pays it at about $200. So all these diabetics we run on that, we're currently recouping $0.
Right.
We would get some money. Some of this would end up going into the write-off column, though. So there's bills that go out that don't get paid. They're below $500. They usually won't turn anything into, like, if we decide to go to collections, if it's below 500, they're not going to turn it in anyway. All the reports can be run whenever we want. We don't have to wait on an email. Medi-Cal is willing to do the ALS non-transport. Ambulance billing currently requires us to get a face sheet from the hospital that has all the billing information on it, which may not be accurate because when was the last time you were at the hospital and gave them your current insurance? Medi-Cal gets all that data themselves. No longer have to collect face sheets. There will be some upfront costs in getting this going. Number one will be the charting software. Right now, ambulance billing provides the charting software. The fallback of that is we don't own that data. They do. So all those run reports are property of ambulance billing because they pay for their reporting software.
How much is that charting software?
If all this stuff works, the quote's 10,000. 10,290 on a one-time, reoccurring would be 9019. We only have to pay it the first time up front, and then after that, Medi-Cal will pay it, but it will come out of the percentage that they deposit to our account unless we want to continue to pay that. So up front, we would have the startup piece to get the software, which we would own the data. It'll allow the monitors to import to them, so all of our 12 leads that we're currently taking pictures of and manually uploading the vitals, all that stuff will go straight in there. So if there's any issues with billing, all that data will automatically transfer over. It also has integration for the CAD, so all the times, addresses, who called, what the dispatch complaint was, will automatically import into that system. I've already checked with the sheriff's department. That system that they're using with ESO says it is integratable. So each one of those are about, the CAD's $1,500 and the cardiac monitor $795.
Is that in
If those
addition
don't
to
work, it'll chisel away at that price.
Is that in addition to the 10,290 or?
That's
is that part
everything,
of it?
that's all of it, yep.
Do the surrounding counties do something similar to this?
I came from Batesville. That's exactly what we did. One thing is we don't have a nest egg with them to pay the 10,000 up front. So they would like us to pay the first bill, and then after that, ESO will send them the bills. They'll take care of it, and it will just be hidden in our EFTs. They'll just slowly they'll pay it, and we just won't get reimbursed for whatever that balance is, unless we want to pay this ourselves.
Do you have any idea how many non-transports we have here?
Not the exact number. I've been trying to get it. It's a fair amount. But here's the issue with the non-transports. I'll tell you, because we brought up the ordinance fee for the ambulances. It's just not. It's not just going to hit the diabetics. If we set in an ordinance, say, if you call an ambulance and say you fell and you just want checked out, that's a bill. That is a non-transport bill. That'll be billed $360 if that's what we set at the rate. If they fall and just need help up, no bill. If they say, hey, will you check me out while you're here? That's a bill. So if we do an assessment, they will get a bill. So we just can't say we're going to bill the diabetics. We have to bill everybody across the board.
Sure. So I think that's reasonable. I mean, because we do have a lot of repeat
We have a lot.
calls for services, but then they refuse transport. Well, they refuse transport. Currently, we don't bill for a non-transport. So unfortunately, and I don't want to sound negative, but maybe some people take advantage of that.
I'll just put it that way, yeah. $360 adds up quick, yeah.
It does. I actually printed a report from Batesville, and we had billed 192 non-transports last year, and it was like $60,000. And I think we collected on like 15%.
So 15% of 60,000, where did you,
So 9,000.
which would almost pay for the software.
That's right. It's big
Batesville.
somewhere. Yeah.
And that was just the city of Batesville.
Yeah. So this is their reports they send out every month. We get it at the end of the month. This is the Medi-Cal report, and you can go online and print this at any point. And any report you want, you can run it today. You can log back in tomorrow and get it updated of where it was yesterday versus today instead of waiting 30 days to get this in the email or mail.
So Joe, just to bring you up to speed, I don't want to ask Ryan another question, but historically, we've had a problem with, so the county only has one ID, federal ID number. So the nurse managed clinic and SCR, both of their funds get sent to the same account. Historically, it's a manual process for them to figure out which funds go to SCR, which funds go to the nurse managed clinic. And it's never, I don't think it's ever accurate, just to be honest. Will this
Yes.
fix that?
Gail was in on that
With
meeting.
that?
She was gonna come tonight, but I don't think she made it. She sat down and talked with, Ted that came down from Medi-Cal. He believes that's resolvable. They also have like all these other reports that you can run to be able to search for that money a little bit better if it does end up there. He's also willing to help us get that fixed.
Whenever the insurance company's paid, it all goes to the same account, and then the nurse maintenance clinic has to decide which one's SCR, which one's nurse maintenance clinic. And I think a lot of times it's not very clear, so it just stays with the nurse maintenance clinic.
The other thing about it is we're paying Zealous to do the credit card payments. Every credit card payment that they make, they take 2.9% of. So now our percent at 6.5% is almost 9.5%. So a credit card payment, that other company's getting 2.9%. Medi-Cal has their own credit card service. It's included in
So
At
this
6
six point five, is that what ambulance billing service is charging us?
the fee. Medi-Cal's gonna be 6.25.
So there's actually a 0.25% less.
One thing I don't have is the contract. I do have, he sent me over a sample ordinance. And then this is the rates for the service. I've got Ripley County, Batesville, Sunman, and Franklin County on here. Batesville's the only one that's doing the 360 treat no transport. And then a sample of an ordinance from another area. So we get that established.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we don't have an ordinance. I have personally looked for it, so I can't say that we don't have it, but I think Gail looked for it. She couldn't find it. I think, Ryan's looked for it. He can't find it. Somewhere there has to be an ordinance that establishes what our transport rates is, but or like to find it.
So do we approve this tonight or?
We'll have to draft our own ordinance. He's just giving us.
Yeah, that's a sample.
As an example.
It's the surrounding services that he uses and the rates that they're billing out for ambulances. I'll tell you, Batesville's BLS is a little bit higher, but that's because Batesville doesn't have mileage. The hospital's 5 minutes away. So we don't collect much mileage there when I was there. So we added it to the rate, because if the insurance is gonna pay more, they'll pay it off rate.
So what are we currently charging, Ryan?
Don't know, can't find the ordinance.
Only ambulance billing service knows what we
Ambulance
charge.
billing services know, and I've asked for all kinds of documentation from them and the contract don't have the rates in it.
And Jim Freeman's not there anymore, right? He's
It's not there anymore, because that company's been sold.
Okay, so maybe we'll find something by the 3rd or the 17th.
Possibly, since we don't even know what we're charging. We don't know if we're gonna go down in revenue or up in revenue if we establish an ordinance, if we don't know what the current fees are.
Yeah, well, that's the fee schedules of everybody around us, so he's not going to tell us to bill something around Flex, because we could bill whatever we want, but the insurance is gonna say they're only gonna pay this much money, and then all that just goes into your write-off, so your write-off is gonna go really high. So, 991 is supposed to be back tomorrow. It will be riding around without door stickers for 30 days on the driver's side until the pain cures. On the scheduling software, I think Jerry mentioned scheduling software to you at a prior time. I've still not got the quote for that. It's supposed to be around like $2,000. It will do the time clock, PTO accrual, scheduling, messaging, and personnel management. They'll be able to enter all their certs on there. It's around like, they said they'd be around the $2,000 range. We're paying $600 right now for the stuff we got a year, but we're gonna get a lot more out of it.
So, I mean, I can't think of the payroll, time and attendance system, Gail, you're looking at.
AOP.
Attendance on the meeting, yeah. So would we want, I don't know if we want two separate. Is this specific to like
It's
emergency
geared for,
services
yeah,
type payroll system or?
yeah, it's only, their system is for police and fire and EMS. It's geared to just work for those. I kind of looked into that one. I don't know if it's gonna work. I just don't know if it's gonna accumulate in 24-hour shifts or not.
They claim, I think, to do fire, all that.
Police.
Supposed to. What's the name of it? What'd you say was the?
I lied to say. PCB software.
I mean, I would prefer to have one system if we can, I guess would be the best way to put it. You know, and obviously I would assume Gail would prefer one over two or three or five.
The only thing I didn't find out about the time clock on that system is can you backdate it? Like if they get a run, I don't want to delay getting an ambulance out to go clock in. They just get an ambulance and go. The TCP software, they can clock in late and add a note that says, hey, I caught a run when I got here.
They could do manual overrides in the system she's doing.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
John, you're on deck.
All right. Start out with some park news. We had a regularly scheduled meeting Thursday, January 9th. New generic sign is finally up for Markland by Tourism. Received a new PA system from Markland Ballpark Fields. Need to install this spring. YPAC has volunteered to replace the shaky steps with their labor and materials at Markland. Gail's going to investigate, make sure we're covered, because I don't know if we're covered insurance-wise on that. YPAC would also like to place a temporary building up near ball field number 1 for equipment storage. Best news was that I was reelected president of the board, so it remains in capable hands. Last toured the 3 parks December 19th. Got a call from a citizen January 3rd about Markland's 3 flags not being half-staffed for President Carter's 30-day period in January. I called our superintendent, Paul, and he lowered them the next day. Zoning news, Patriot enforcement officer spoke to me January 16th. She's proceeding against 4 decrepit mobile homes. Homeowner refuses to cut his grass or communicate, so a sheriff's sale is ordered on January 28th in a West Side home. VV News, Tech Center scrapyards lost 3 inoperable vehicles. That was the good news. The bad news is they received 2 new junkers. January 16th, I supposed to talk to the town clerk. They had an employee meeting January 9th and tasked the street department workers with keeping track of zoning violators rather than the undermanned police department, which was doing nothing. And that's it.
Thanks, John.
Yes, sir.
Mark White.
You guys don't know me, I'm Mark White, my wife Sue. We resided there on Kelly Road for 31 years. And we purchased some property on the creek. Jamie's a little aware of it, but when they opened Brown Road up through the flood, there's about 12 to 1,500 feet to get to my property. And I've done a little research, and I think that road is still open to be accessed. And I'm willing to pay to open it and maintain it for the county to take over. That's what I'm here for. I got some paperwork that I've researched there through the courthouse. Take time and look at it for us and think about it. Let me have an answer.
It's off of Bennington Pike at the dead end. It used to come out on
Kelly.
Kelly or
Yeah,
years ago, but
it hasn't been
since I've
open,
been alive,
probably.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, when they opened it, everybody I've talked to, I'll just put it, Steve and Teresa Lyons bought that big farm. They split it up. I now have part of it. Gary Roberts has part of it. Everybody I talked to was in agreement with me. But they said, even the lawyer, you need to go talk to Gary Roberts because it hasn't been open. You need to know where that easement is. Well, he says absolutely not. So that's why I'm here, because I'm not going to go on somebody's property, start making a bulldozed trail. I wouldn't want it on mine. So that's why I need the county. I mean, I've got some pretty good paperwork here, I think. It hasn't been open in 45, 50 years probably. But when the county opened up the new section this year to get rid of that bypass, that bridge and them culverts and stuff, that's the reason I'm pursuing it. Because as well,
Well, that portion, if you look at it, all we did was went back and reopened the original road.
and I agree with that 100%. And here's it. And I got some documentation again from that flood. I had a 30-foot easement with that purchase off of Kelly. Well, that washed that all out. And I got the paperwork from the state here. They may not get to it till 2026, but they're going to redo that because the school bus goes down there. So I really can't do anything anyway on that 30-foot easement.
We've already got a bid, that's a part of the NRCS, that's the NRCS.
Yeah, they talked about the erosion of the bank there.
Yeah, that looked familiar to you.
Right there at the curb.
The very bottom of the hill on Kelly,
Yeah,
coming from Bennington Pike side.
yeah, we've already got that bid out.
Yeah,
It's just
that
me
should be done this
picking up.
spring.
It said that up, it did say as much as 2026, that's all.
No, it should be done this spring.
But I'm
Right.
just,
Yeah, yeah, it's already bid out and the contractor got awarded, and he's just waiting on the weather to break so he can get in there and fix that.
but I think Jamie was a little familiar with that, but that road, I even got the documentation where they sold that when Gary, Teresa, and Bashir bought that farm. The easement still, third page from the back here, still says Kelly Road and Brown Road's access and easement are still there, and I think that's an '08. But that's still in the books here at the county. Whoever wants. You wanna read
It's
it
gonna
over?
be a job for Pat, I can tell you. 'cause I
Well,
already-
it's not. a job for
Unfortunately,
me.
Pat resigned Friday,
well,
so we're gonna have to find a new
I-
attorney.
I have looked over.
That gentleman never returned my call. I called him, went to the office, and he wouldn't even talk to me. So McGrath from Madison, yeah, he wouldn't even. I'm just saying.
But I have researched some of this and I can't find anything showing that we still maintain it or
But
nothing.
we definitely don't maintain it.
Right. So I
We
personally
haven't
think
maintained
it's,
it. I can never remember it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived here all my life. I don't remember it ever being open, but.
and I think you're right, there probably is an easement through there.
Well,
but-
I'm willing to
Yeah,
do the work to get it open, but I need somebody in the county, Mr. McAllister, somebody get me.
Have you talked to Brian McAllister?
I have talked to Brian. And he told me to go talk to Gary Roberts. And I did, but I'm just telling you fellas, I'm not gonna deal with Gary Roberts, I'm gonna deal with the county.
yeah.
It stands down.
And I personally think it's probably gonna be a civil case to find out that easement. But I don't really know, that's why I think it needs to go to,
We'll just have to wait till we get the county attorney and.
yeah.
It might be 30 days, 45 days.
And that's all right. I brought what little bit I have and I appreciate it. Fair enough?
Won't you hold on to
I
that?
will. And I'll go through and see if there's anything else I see that I haven't already
Okay.
seen.
I'm highlighted most everything I think. All right, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Mailbox, damages.
That's the ordinance that you wanted to do for the highway.
Yeah, I think Ryan was looking into that. So I haven't found any ordinance on mailboxes or what we're supposed to do, or we've had a few calls in about mailbox damage, and a lot of the ordinances I've looked up, if we physically hit the box with a plow or something, then we replace it. But if it's snow damage, we don't replace it. But that's other county ordinances. I can't find what we have, so I need to know what we need to do.
But you look like a Ohio County, Griffith County.
No, I've looked a few up online, like Whitley County, I seen they had one that was basically follows what the state does. If there's physical marks on the box showing the plow hit it, then they would reimburse up to $100. Or fix the mailbox up to $100, or if that person's already fixed it themselves, they can send in the bill with the receipt, and then they'll reimburse up to whatever money amount you all said it is.
Did you by chance look up the states? Cause I know the state at one time had one.
I looked at it once, but I didn't screenshot or anything, but it is, I think, similar to what, like Whitman County and them use as well. And I did not take a screenshot, I don't think. Ryan took a screenshot of the one.
I guess we'll just have to decide if we wanna create an ordinance. I mean, how many calls or how many issues do we have related
I
now?
think we had 4. And one, I know one of the guys has already fixed it himself. Yeah. And I told him as soon as I find out what we need to do, we'll do whatever. So it's been quite a few days since We've had some calls as well. And if we need to replace them or whatever, we'll go do that. You know, I didn't wanna go replacing everything that I wasn't supposed to be, or
Well, the 15-day forecast looked pretty good for you, so
yeah,
we shouldn't have any more for a while.
yeah, if we get through tomorrow, at least we'll be getting some warm temps and sun to get rid of what's left.
All right, thank you. Kathy Slauson?
You do it.
Yeah. How are you, Kathy?
I'm good, man.
This is pretty cut and dry. Board worked on this probably October meeting, I guess. Just felt like we need to raise a few rates here and there, but however, we didn't raise the first. Do you guys have this?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
No.
Well, anyway, we just need you to approve this ordinance. We approved it for us at the health department to a board meeting, I believe it was in October. And this one we left the same, retail food establishment, $50, $50.
Like a food truck or something.
No, that one's the brick and mortar.
Gotcha.
Then these guys here, there's a mobile one-time event, and then if you're gonna do a bunch of those, like, above 3, then it's $150. The rest of this stuff is, new construction permit, repair permit, $35. Holding tank permit, that's the new deal from the legislation in, July of 2023, where you can do a holding tank. So what we're doing with that, you have the new construction permit for that, so that's $100. And then, the thing, you're actually gonna move on a bargain the first year, because the thing is gonna turn into $200 a year after that. So your original permit is gonna get you the first year of, holding tank permit. After that, the reason for the increase in that is there's just a lot of paperwork and all that with the holding tanks. You have to tell or provide the hauler if you're using, somebody has to keep track of the hauling receipts and all this stuff. There's a lot of paperwork for that. Contractor registration is pretty comparable, that's just where the septic guys registered in Brookside County. Of course, with that legislation in July of 2023, if you're registered in one county, you can go to any other county in the state, but each time you do that, you have to pay the county fee. Birth certificate will go up a hopping $1. Just get it hopping $1, see, just $1.
How many permits, build permits did we have last year?
What's that?
New build permits.
New bill?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I don't remember. Do you remember the number on that, Kathy?
It's left as well.
Our guy just left, so.
All right.
Okay.
We're filling some of the details. It's like a common one.
I think,
35 or 40, for like,
On new bill?
yeah, new bills.
you're talking new bill in the second.
Yes, yes.
But septic would be the home.
Yes,
So,
yeah. Oh, I don't know on bills.
okay.
I mean, some of those, if you have an existing septic that's good and is inspected, and is usable, you can do that. You use it. Otherwise, it's going to be in tandem, I guess.
So what, do you need us to take any action?
Yeah, just approve that as like an ordinance.
I'd make a motion to approve the newly established, health department rates for 2025, I guess it is.
Yeah, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Board reports, we probably don't have any.
I don't have any.
The endowments, we meet the 28th. Randy, you had applied for 2 boards, but I think they conflicted. So if you got all your other ones.
Yeah, just, I mean, I don't care, pick one for me, if you want to go, if there's an opening somewhere, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't think they have
There's no vacancies.
no vacancies right
So, all right,
So one of the boards should have a vacancy coming up, I think.
Right.
We'll just have to keep in mind that you applied for.
y'all know how to get a hold of me, so,
I just don't remember which board it was.
I mean, I think it has
It's
something,
either planning and zoning or zoning
yes,
appeal. That's
one to two, yeah.
Right. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
Call to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
So we had some, we on there.
Yes. Actually, we're supposed to.
I'm sure. I mean,
Hey, Rex is supposed to vote, but
especially.
I left my number. I got them,
Yeah, I think I got those on the city. Yeah. Yeah, you still listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back at
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do some looking on it.
Hey, Jamie.
Tomorrow.
I passed the liquor.